Hi, everyone. How are you guys doing? I hope all is well. I decided to put this video together just because I've been getting a lot of inquiries. Obviously, being a travel consultant, travel advisor around this whole COVID-19, aka coronavirus. And I have gotten a lot of messages through DMs, like every channel, emails, text message, etc. Ironically enough, not from my clients, but from other people. So I thought, let me just jump on, create a video, say hi, share it, social distancing, but you can at least still see my face, you can hear my voice. Let you know that I'm doing well. There's nothing wrong over here. And just answer some of your questions because I think rightfully so you have a right to kind of know, and sometimes it's best to hear it from the professional versus everything else that we see online. So first of all, let me start out by saying, how are you guys? I hope everybody honestly and genuinely is doing okay. We are in unprecedented times. I have never seen anything like this in my 25 years of being on this earth. Wink, wink. And I'm sure everybody else can kind of attest to the same thing. So nobody holds a crystal ball. Nobody knows what the future holds, although we hope it'll be 10 times better than it is right now. But we can only take it one day at a time. And I think that's what I'm doing, and everybody that I speak to is doing the same thing. So let me first start out by saying I'm well. Thank you for everybody who has reached out to just find out personally about me. Obviously, because I'm an entrepreneur and I only have businesses, people have been very concerned. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I even had a client, a wedding client who lives in the US, who's now become a good friend of mine, reach out to just say, are you okay? Is everything okay? We know you have a travel business. We know it's wedding season coming up, etc. And yes, I'm doing fine. I grew up in the banking world. So that was my career when I worked full time. And the one thing I learned, and it was my career for about a good 20 something years. So the one thing I learned very early on is to diversify your portfolio and diversify your income. So just like I have my investments diversified, I also have my income diversified. So I am totally okay. My businesses are fine. In regards to the travel component, which is really what I'm going to talk about on this video, my groups are good. They have received constant communication from me, so they know where everything stands. And luckily, my travel doesn't start until July, so we're really in a waiting pattern around, what things will look like, etc. And then from a wedding perspective, again, that stuff doesn't heat up until around July as well. So just in a kind of wait and see. So everything is good from that perspective. And if we have to reschedule and we have to rebook, we just have to do that, right? And we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But other than that, everything is good from that perspective. Okay, so I've got some notes here around questions that people have been asking. So I've had people reach out, ironically enough, about booking travel right now. And so this has been my response to them. I think people are of the impression that if they book now, there's these fantastic deals to be had. And I personally have not seen that just yet. So what's happening? Obviously, they're not looking to book for next week. They're looking to book for later this year. And because a lot of the tour operators are not even touching anything to do with later this year, as a matter of fact, most of them are only focused, or as of last week, they were only focused on travel taking place up until the end of March. So they're not even looking at anything further than that. So if you're looking to cancel a reservation, book a reservation, chances are, definitely from a cancellation perspective, they're not looking at that. Their focus is to get people home, and their focus is to take care of the immediate need of people. So anything past, I would say, end of March, probably first week of April, you're not going to get a lot of traction on. And also, because people aren't really canceling that far out in advance, you're not really seeing these great deals that people are hoping. So my recommendation has just been to hold off. Don't book anything. As a matter of fact, what I saw firsthand with a group that I'm working on is the rates have actually gone up. So the rate has been slowly creeping up as opposed to going down. Now, again, this was something that was going to be booked for later in the future. So, inventory is very tight right now, but doesn't mean that things are not going to change as time progresses. So I would just hold tight. Don't look to book anything right now. It's not the time to be booking. You can monitor if you want, but definitely, yeah, I'm not doing any bookings per se right now as it relates to travel. On the event side, I have had some bookings, so that's been really good, because these are events that are happening like next year or way late down in the year. So, that's a different story. So that's one question I've been getting. The other thing that I see a lot of is misinformation. So a lot of people are posting things all over. Make sure you are getting information from a credible source. I'm sure I don't have to say this, but I'm going to. Make sure you're looking at credible sources for your information, because this is what's creating fear and angst in people. When you start to see things swirling around, then people run with it. I tell my friend, they tell their friend, and before you know it, we're all going crazy. So we have information coming at us like pretty much like shooting at us. So make sure you're able to dissect and go through that information, and that you're referring back to a credible source. I will go on the WHO, which is the World Health Organization site, if I'm looking for information. I am also getting inundated, as one can imagine, with plethora of emails from all of the different suppliers, even suppliers that I have not booked with or never booked with. But because they have me in their database, I'm obviously getting a lot of information. So that's been good for me because it's coming from the source. But you also have to keep in mind that the source information is changing by the minute. So as people react, I don't see it changing as much now as it was last week. I think because we're kind of now starting to get a handle on the situation, but I know for sure last week, I could give you information now, and 5 minutes later it could change. It's just because that's how the disease is, right? Like, or the virus is. Everybody is reacting as more information becomes available and as they figure out what they need to do. So, my number one tip is to make sure you are, getting your information from a credible source. It sounds silly, but I'm telling you, I get a lot of messages from people asking me questions. And then when I say, well, what was the source? And they said, oh, it was this, or I saw it on Facebook or whatever, that creates half of the issue, right? So check out and make sure it's from a credible source. Um, okay, what else do I want to tell you guys about? So the other thing that I have been asked about is obviously cancellations. Um, and what I have been telling clients in general is let's just sit tight. Most of our bookings are not until the end, later on in the year. And so, therefore, as I mentioned earlier, the suppliers are not even looking at those bookings right now. So, I just want to give a huge shout out to my clients who are indeed MVPs. They're the real MVPs because they've been really, really good. There have been a few people that have asked about cancellations, but for the most part, because there has been constant communication from me to the groups, everybody kind of knows where they stand. So we're just kind of sitting tight on that particular one. The one that I'm most concerned with is the Essence Fest group. Essence has kind of stated, as of I think 2 weeks ago, that they're still moving forward with Essence Fest. That is a huge event where a lot of people congregate. So with some of the other groups that I have, it's much smaller, on a much smaller scale, or it's a wedding. But with Essence, that one I am a little bit concerned about, even if they were to move forward with it. So that's just my personal feeling. But we'll see. When I went on the Essence site yesterday, I think the counter said they were 102 days out from Essence. So a lot can change. That's still like a good 3 months plus. So a lot can change between now and then, but that was probably the only one that I was of concern about. All right. Now, I think that kind of answers the top questions that I've been getting. Um, So just some, positive things to do. I guess I've always been a glass half full type person. I always try and look for the better or the greater out of a situation than the worst. So I've been welcoming this downtime. Like I never have that. I don't know kind of sometimes what to do with my life. I'm kidding. So, here are some of the things I've been doing. So I've been actually doing some spring cleaning. And I think if you guys follow me on Instagram and my stories, you would have seen where I did a video of one of my closets, just kind of showing that I'm going to kind of be purging and paring down. I have a lot of stuff, guys. You guys know I'm a shopaholic. I don't make it, it's not something that's quiet or private. Everybody knows that. I love to shop. And actually, being, to be quite honest, being home 24/7 has not been good. I would never have classified myself as an online shopper before, but I am telling you, I have been hitting up the online malls like there is no tomorrow. And every day I check with concierge for my boxes and they have not arrived. And I have a sneaky feeling that they have stopped delivering non essential boxes because of the coronavirus. So I have a feeling that I will probably get like 15 boxes when this thing is all said and done. But needless to say, I have to purge. I have to spring clean because where am I going to fit those 15 boxes of clothes? So I am going to definitely be looking at all of my closets and just kind of editing down and purging, cleaning up the balcony and just in the house. So that's a really good thing for anybody to do. And yesterday was the first of spring. Hey, so it's officially spring cleaning time. Okay. The other thing I've been doing that I never do, and I've told people this before, I'm very social. I'm just not social media. I am not the type of person to sit down and scroll through for hours on Instagram and social media and, respond to messages and all that stuff. I'm horrible. I'm horrible at it. I really am horrible. But what I have actually been doing is scrolling through my phone and reaching out to people. Like, I'm not talking about people that are on social media. I'm talking about people that I have not heard from, spoken to in years. So that's what I'm spending the time doing, is just reaching out, reconnecting with people, because I think now is the time to do that. And just say, hey, how are you doing? Thinking about you. Hope all is well, right? That's all it really takes. And even in WhatsApp too, I was scrolling through WhatsApp and going through that and saying to people, hey, just shouting you out. How are you doing? Hope all is well. Sometimes it's just really nice to hear from people. That's all you really need to brighten your day. I haven't really gotten onto the Netflix and chill thing. I was following Power. Power is now done. And I'm a Real Housewives of Atlanta fan, which you guys all know. So those were my guilty pleasures. I have not found anything or heard of anything on Netflix that I'm interested in binge watching. And that's probably a good thing because I have much more important things to do. But use this time wisely. I've also been spending time with family, spending time with my daughter, obviously, and then virtually with my family, talking to them a lot more than I ever have, and stuff like that. So just want to shout out my sister, who is a nurse. I actually come from a family of nurses. I did nursing. So I enrolled in nursing years ago. And I did one semester of nursing. They put me in the geriatrics ward, which is the ward with like older people, elderly. And I would make all these friendships. And then I would come back the next week and say like, where's so-and-so? Oh, he died. And where's Mrs. So-and-so? And she's dead. And then I was like, that's it. So I broke the whole nursing curse and I went into banking. So it's not for me. And then the next semester, they were actually going to be putting us into the, giving us needles. Like we were going to be giving needles. And that was it. I was like, game over. I am not giving anybody needles. I'm not interested in that. When do we actually go to the baby ward? Because that's what I'm interested in. So anywho, come from a family of nurses. And so they have, my mom, my aunt, my sister, a whole bunch of them. And so they have lived through some of these battlegrounds with some of these viruses. And they have families as well, too, but they don't really have a choice. They have to go in and they have to take care of those that are sick while trying to take care of themselves. So I want to give a shout out to my sissy, and anybody else who is in the front line. We value you, we appreciate you, and we recognize the circumstances and that you can't just stay home. You are considered essential services, but you are also putting your life at risk every day that you go out there. And that talks to a bunch of different professions. Police officers put their life at risk every single day, coronavirus or no coronavirus. So we appreciate you and we love you. Other than that, I think that is all for now. Definitely keep sending the messages over. I will see if there is a need maybe to do another one of these. I obviously don't have a proper setup. I don't have anything actually, to properly do this. None of the proper lighting. I was thinking about where would I sit and take this video. In my office, the lighting is not that great. So I decided to come out in the living room. But I'm more than happy to put another video together if there's a whole bunch of questions that you guys have, because I think it's just an easy way to respond. I guess I could do a live as well too, but we'll see. So thank you guys again. Thank you for all your support, for all your patronage, for reaching out, for finding out how I'm doing. I'm doing well. There's nothing wrong. I'm good. My family's well, and I hope you guys truly are. Don't worry about it. This too will pass. This is what life is all about. It's a bunch of bumps in the road. And really and truly, the true test of how people survive and make it through hard times is part of it is their mindset and how they approach the situation, right? So I always tell people I was a project manager when I used to work full-time at the bank. And, trust me, millions of issues and concerns come your way all the time. Big issues, blockers. But if I sit down there and I act like a crazy woman when these things happen, how can anybody looking at me and looking for me for direction actually trust that I know what I'm doing or saying? So I have to maintain a sense of calm when things are panicky. It's the same thing with weddings, right? When things are going a little helter-skelter, because they always do in every situation, I have to maintain composure. I cannot add to the chaos because that's not going to help. And I think that's a lot about what life is about, is life is never going to be a walk in the park. Don't let anybody fool you, and don't let Instagram fool you. But it's how you react when you're faced with adversity, what you do, what you say, and how you treat people that really makes you the MVP. So just keep a positive mind, listen to positive stuff, read your Bible if you're a religious person, look at stuff that's going to feed your soul, not take away from your soul. This too will pass. And then you'll come out on the other side, and then you just got to decide, how do you move forward in life? We're all in it together. We're all feeling it. So just keep a very positive outlook. Look in on your family, look in on your friends, make sure everybody's doing well. Anyways, thank you for your time. Again, thank you for your support. Be safe and stay healthy.